All right, y'all. Today we're gonna look at this boudoir photography business, see if they have BSS with their local or their city Google search here in Vacaville, California. We're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city, utilizing our North Star as always, FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, check the pinned post, home video, wherever you're at. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. And if someone's bringing in, their boudoir photography business is rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the left side, the highest intent, all the way to the right side, the lowest intent. Peeps all coming in, or at least becoming aware of their business. And if a boudoir photography business is following, more than likely, some chunk here along this intent spectrum is missing. We're missing out on those people. So over on the left, we got the highest intent people. That's what we're talking about here with these videos, talking about BSS. These are people, social search on social media, and Google search for like boudoir photographers in their city or boudoir photo shoots in their city. And highest intent people, closest to the money, highest conversion. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, and it's actually going to be the highest volume of people. And we're talking about those on our sister brand called Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, kind of a niche problem there. And currently, we're only working with boudoir photographers over there, running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, on to BSS, boudoir search sameness. So this one, a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, I mean, we're on page 2 or deeper. I mean, we're dead. At that point, we're dead because we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never make it to page 2. So people searching never even click to go to page 2. They are page 1 searches only, page 1 searchers only. As a result, this is who we got to get in front of. This is who we care about. We don't care about the 20%. They're going 10 pages deep. Don't care. We care about the 80%, the bulk of the market. So 0 slots, no bueno. 1 slot, also no bueno, because, there's 10 organic slots on page 1. If there's 9 other boudoir photographers, it's basically, 1 slot for each. And guess what? A buyer, everyone looks the same. Buyer just gonna be clicking down through, and basically price shopping everyone, price comparing everyone, driving the price into the ground. So we're not even seen as anything special. We got 1 slot on page 1. Buyers don't see much of a difference between us and the other peeps. So it's literally like we got BSS, we got a problem. And that's because 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Common, yes. Accepted, yes. Not normal, no. It is not normal to have so few number of page 1 links on Google. It's accepted, but it's not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are 1, market saturation, and 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Basically, everyone knows what market saturation is. It seems like every week someone's getting a new iPhone, throwing out their Google My Business profile, throwing out their website saying they now do boudoir photo shoots, competing with us for page 1, ranking on page 1. And then or someone getting a new camera and then they're posting in the mom Facebook groups that they now do boudoir photo shoots as well. So that's market saturation. Also, big market saturation happened during COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, couldn't work, couldn't earn money, but still need to earn money. And guess what? Everyone's got a smartphone with a great camera on it. So very easy for tons of boudoir photographers to enter the market, which means an increase in supply, increase in sellers. For the same number of buyers, demand remains the same. And guess what? We are making it harder for every buyer or every seller to get buyers if there's more sellers than the same number of buyers. And the biggest thing, though, here's number 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this false belief, page 1 equality, is when people incorrectly believe that, every boudoir photographer gets either, 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and when they, basically when they, a new boudoir photographer comes in, maybe they're on page 1, originally they're on page 1, a new boudoir photographer gets ranked above, then they get kicked off to page 2, and they're thinking, oh, that's simply how it is, hopefully that person deletes their website. Maybe Google will put me back on page 1. So it's basically this acceptance that there's not really much that can be done. No, incorrect, false. I know this for a fact. Google will actually give as many page 1 slots to any boudoir photographer who wants to put in the work to acquire them without paying for Google ads. And I know that because I actually went from 0 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google to 9 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google in 10 days using this new methodology that I invented. So false belief, page 1 inequality. The first thing is realize it's false, and we actually can take as many page 1 slots on Google as we want, which kind of like punches through kind of this brain box we were in. It allows us to see outside. Oh, and outside we do have one solution finally coming up in 2 pictures. But right now, We know that boudoir photographer BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. But yeah, if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're disappearing because approximately 80% of the marketplace that searches on Google ain't never finding us on page 2 or deeper. Also, for page 1 slot on Google Organic, we're basically looking the same as everyone else. It's gonna be price shops with like 9 other boudoir photographers, driving margins down, and just really screwing everything up for us. So disappearing boudoir photographer, this one they have BSS, and that's because it's the canary in the coal mine. This is the first sign, kind of the first flag that eventually the boudoir photography business will be disappearing down the line as well. But luckily, we now have the solution. So we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology, and we know this because we invented it and we've already used it for ourselves. Now, S-cubed methodology, that's exactly what it said. It's exactly its name, social search saturation. We're going to saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, buyer keywords. So we pop up there. So buyer search there, find us first. It's kind of like the backside, the small streams and small rivers of the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America. And these all flow into the large Amazon River. The large Amazon River is Google page 1. So if we successfully social search saturate, then we'll be rewarded with as many slots on page 1 of Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And as a result, we actually this is actually the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that's able to stave off and actually allow boudoir photography business to continue to grow without, even in the face of market saturation, even in the face of massive market saturation. Now, the only other thing that could do this is brand, but that takes like 5 to 10 years to, assemble. We ain't got that time anymore. AI is coming to take people's jobs. We literally got to get maximum distribution, kind of a maximum digital land grab now, ASAP. And so, for S-cubed methodology, outcompeting market saturation, allowing us to continue to grow even in the face of it. Let's say we're in Chicago. There's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website center boudoir photographer, all trying to rank page 1 on Google, and we are saying, okay, the only way for us to successfully compete is we got to crank S-cubed methodology to the max. That's exactly what we do. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, and we take like the first 300 slots across all social networks for, let's say for those highest intent keywords. Now, let's also say this now flows onto Google, the Amazon River, and we're taking up the first 300 organic slots, Google organic search for those keywords as well. And every page on Google is 10 organic slots. So we're basically working on, taking over 30 first 30 pages of Google. So essentially for anyone to find our competitors, they literally got to scroll 300 places on social search or Google search. They got to go to page 31 on Google search. And dude, if approximately 20% of peeps are going to a Google page 2, basically ain't no one going to Google page 31. And so whenever a buyer searches their high intent buyer keywords, then what happens is we show up everywhere, and basically kicked all of our competitors out of the building. So even though there's a million boudoir photographers in Chicago, whose business is growing? Ours, because we cranked S-cubed methodology to the max, took over all the search real estate, social search, Google search, for the first 300 slots. And like our business growing, everyone else disappeared. They're disappearing. They can't successfully compete with us. And so again, this is why I said this is the only, and this happens a lot faster than brand. That's why I said it's the only thing I've seen that can successfully outcompete market saturation and continue to grow boudoir photography business. That doesn't require ads, because ads, their momentum goes to zero once you stop spending. S-cubed methodology has a momentum to it. It's not infinity momentum, but it's way more momentum than zero momentum once you stop spending on it. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility, a bonus, kind of an initial benefit. Getting more slots on Google. We're also kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1 of Google, effectively making them invisible. They're relegated to page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of boudoir or of Google searches never even reach page 2. They're page 1 searchers only. So we're kicking them far to the 5 buyers. They ain't even gonna see them. So that's an initial benefit. In addition to us getting more slots, we're getting price shopped against way less people because 4 out of 5 boudoir searchers ain't going to page 2 anyway. Approximately 4 out of 5. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where we actually want to, this is where our GBC recommended, you know, we want to hit, GBC recommends a minimum of 3 out of 10 Google page one slots. So 3 out of 10. And as a result, we feel like that's where we can comfortably say, all right, well, most likely at least treading water here, maintaining, most likely not disappearing. And the highest probability is we're actually growing the business once we're getting 3 out of 10. And 3 out of 10, if everyone else is one slot, man, a Boudoir buyer seeing us with 3, they're gonna be like, why does Google keep recommending this person over and over and over again? They may only click us and not even click any of our competitors on that search. And then there's always a tiny, tiny, tiny chance someone will have 2 slots. So if we get to 3 out of 10 slots, we're good. It's basically like, you know, basically like if we get 3 out of 10, we're basically dominating 99.9% of all cases. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So it's our full universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, previously unknown false belief, page one equality. But finally, thankfully, we have a solution. Thank the universe. We got SQ'd methodology now. We achieve page one visibility, and we become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. So it's our micro universe here. Now we're going to check out my results using SQ'd methodology. So I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So I went and I used SQ'd methodology, social search saturation. And see, organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I did this in 10 days, went from 0 out of 10 slots Google page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1. And this was purely using our S-cubed methodology. So now main event here, we're going to look at this boudoir photographer Vacaville, California. I might have to copy this, bring it over if I don't have the tab up. So we're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local and city search. Actually, their local and city search is actually the same in this case. All right. There's a Vacaville. All right, so going out to organic. Nope. 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 There we go. We got one. And let's see. Nope. 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 All right, so we got 1 out of 10. So in Vacaville, where is this place? Stockton. Okay, it looks like it's between San Fran and Sacramento. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 slots for Vacaville, California. So yes, we do have BSS, or this boudoir photography business does have BSS, boudoir search sameness, and we have not met the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google, and that's recommended because for 3 out of 10 local and 3 out of 10 local search, 3 out of 10 city search, page 1, we can basically guarantee we're not disappearing. We're either treading water or we're growing, most likely growing. That's why we want to hit 3 out of 10. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've actually done your local searches, your city searches for the highest attempt boudoir buyer keywords for your area, and you either got 0 1 slots, for at least one of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search, and you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. And so you do see that, oh, we actually can take as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you see an SQ methodology is the only way forward. Best solution for you. Best and only solution for you. And you've been waiting for something like this. You like the initial benefits, more slots, page 1 Google. You really like the more slots actually kicks competitors off as well. Makes them invisible, puts them on page 2 to 10, makes them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace, the bulk of the market. And as a result, you're also looking ahead. You understand the market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear, they upgrade their gear, they become boudoir photographers, blah, blah, blah. But you're also seeing AI is taking people's jobs right now already. AI is going to get better and better, which means it's going to take more and more people's jobs into the future. So like, exactly like COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs. Everyone's got a super smartphone with ultra camera. Very easy for anyone to become boudoir photographer. You're like, uh-oh, way more boudoir photographers going to be entering the marketplace now. And so you're looking ahead, you're like, man, I don't need only these links on Google search. I actually need to fortify my position page one Google search. Literally have so many links on page one that Google wants to rank them on page one, but there's not enough space, and they got to go literally like push them onto page two, three, or four. And so you want that fortification, that kind of overflowing of links to essentially prevent any current boudoir photographer from basically ever ranking on page one Google search again, and also any future boudoir photographer that comes from AI taking their job from ever hopping on, ever be able to rank page one Google search ever again. So you're liking that future benefit, fortification. You want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. And as a result, you are also thinking about and understanding that executing SQ methodology every single day is, we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of plugging into your business name, brand name, social handles, website name, your name, out there on the internet, kind of cyberspace, invisibly. And as we build these up, we're building up this like backend AI keyword mindshare momentum, which contributes to showing up here in AI overview. So every day we kind of execute methodology, we're increasing the probability AI overview displays us, which is the most premium slot here. It's the first slot, cannot pay for it, it's organic only. We're also increasing the probability that AI search apps recommend us as well. And when that happens, we're higher chance of being recommended ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Google or Microsoft Copilot. And AI search getting bigger and bigger every single day. More and more people using it every single day. So it's becoming more and more important. So it's kind of like a back-end future benefit. Well, we're kind of going to be going for page one Google search first, because that's still the king. But AI is growing every single day, so it's a back-end kind of parallel benefit of doing SQ methodology. And last time I searched for boudoir photographers with an AI search app. I used ChatGPT, looked for someone in the city. ChatGPT recommended me 3. I then did the standard Google search and like Facebook search, and dude, I found like 60. So it's like, man, we need to find any way possible to get recommended here. Again, SQ methodology is the only solution that enables this in a relatively quick way, or relatively quick increase in probability. And so you're liking those feature benefits. You also like the estimated, 8x speed up of creating a large, well-known brand compared to traditional methods. It's because has much more volume on many different surfaces. You also understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you've decided to be first mover. So you can actually get all these benefits, and more importantly, prevent your competitors from getting these benefits and keep them, page 2 or deeper, which is the goal. Keep them invisible and disappearing, keep their business disappearing. And when you actually, you're thinking, conversely, when you're with the photographer competitors in your city sign out with me first, they'd actually be getting all the links. You would actually be relegated to page 2 or deeper. We'd have so many links, we would make sure to our best efforts so you could never rank page 1 again. We'd be building up their backend AI mindshare, keyword mindshare for their brand, for them to be recommended AI overview, AI search. And we'd be building up such a big gap that in order for you to compete, you'd actually have to rederive SQ methodology on your own. And when you do that, you would then also need to, then execute it every single day, same as us. But even if you did all those things, the gap would still remain the same size. Because we'd be executing every day as well. So you'd actually have to double or triple our output. And when you do that, you'd have to, well, you wouldn't even be 100% confident to put in the time to double or triple our output, because still you wouldn't even know if you've derived the methodology of the technology correctly in the first place. And think about all this stuff. You're realizing, screw that. You don't want to miss this opportunity. You ain't got 80 hours in a day to do all this stuff. So you're deciding, screw that. And you're deciding to hop on first, be the first mover in your city, block out all your competitors. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, but when the hospital opens for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.